Did somebody work in scrap metal?
My father owned a junkyard that had all parts of cars and metal. My father did open a metal shop. 29, he went broke and lost it. He was very well, he knew a lot about all sorts of metals. But then when 29, he lost it. And later on, he opened up a big yard, junkyard, where we had, they called it junkyard, but it's really car parts.
Oh.
And but people would need something, they'd come to us. We had a big German Shepherd there.
Oh yeah, guarding the place. Was it a family dog or a work dog?
No, he was a big, real dog. If you came there, he would bite your leg off.
So you didn't go play with the dog and
Real
play fetch or pet
yeah,
it?
my uncle, when he went there, tore his pants off once.
Tore his pants off?
Tell my father did that, and he made a nice living there.
Yeah. So, metal, huh?
And my brother went to school, went to Crane College, and he gave it up after a year to help my father. My father wasn't well. And then, of course, he became ill and left this world. And that's life.
Whatever happened to the junkyard?
My father sold it just before war broke out for $9,000. The man that bought it, it was worth $250,000.
Oh!
My father was not wise in the fact he wasn't well. And he had a couple of dollars, and he thought that would serve him the rest of his life. Because at that time, it was 5 cents a dozen eggs. You didn't need a lot. So he had saved up a couple of bucks, and he wasn't well. He should have built a cabin where he could have had heat. He couldn't stand cold. He was very sick. And he would have been able to work in it and make money. But he didn't think that way. So he sold it, and he thought he'd retire. And actually, he lived with us. Had he not had us, I don't know where he would have lived money-wise. Do you know what I mean? He lived with us.
You had a full house when you were a kid, then.
You know, we ran the house.
Huh.
That was something. That was something.
And then Benalla came along?
Hmm?
Benalla?
Yeah. Well, we thought Jesus Christ came to life
Who did?
when my son was born.
Really?
He was named for my brother. And it was so soon after. It was 10 months.
Wow.
I got married, decided we were going to have a baby right away because of that.
How did you, Papa and George, meet?
My grandmother, his mother, and my friend's mother liked cards. They played a lot of poker. So in the summer, they would go to the beaches, to Jackson Park or elsewhere. All of them meet. My father-in-law didn't drive, but he had a car. Each Sunday, somebody had to take a turn to take him and spend the day. So it was your grandfather's turn to take him. So that's how we met at the beach.
At the beach, huh? Were you wearing a bikini?
We were all there. You know, we used to go there and play. They used to play cards. The young people, we used to go to the water. We used to do things, you know. And the elders used to play cards, bring food with. That's
And
all.
was he shy?
He wasn't shy, no. Your grandfather wasn't shy.
So did he come right
He
up?
was sports. I went with him for a long time because he didn't have money. I knew him for 4 years before I got married.
Oh, yeah.
Because nobody could get married. Who could get married in 29, 30, 31?
Expensive?
Nobody had a buck.
Huh.
Your great-grandfather worked with Hart Schaffner Marx, and he had a good job all of his life, one of the few. So that's why he could afford a car, but he couldn't drive. So the three boys would take a turn.
Huh.
One time, my older brother-in-law and us decided, the four of us, that time with his wife, we would go spend New Year's Eve downtown together so we'd have the car for the four of us. So we went there. He took the car and never came back for us. That was my older brother-in-law. He looked out for himself.
How did Papa George get into pharmacy business? He had his own pharmacy with his brother, right?
Yeah, his brother was a pharmacist. And he tried to be in the business where my father was in. But somehow it didn't grab him. So his father decided, as long as Manny had become a pharmacist, to buy another store. So my father pitched up, and your great-grandfather pitched up, and they took a little mortgage, and they bought this store, which was owned by one man for 44 years, and he came from Europe. He was a German Jew who lived upstairs. Mm-hmm. The store was 44 years old when we bought it.
Wow.
It served the South Side.
How long did you have it for?
We had it from 37 till 72, I think we sold it. When Manny got sick, and it wasn't good. The area was bad, 1972.
Do you remember the person's name who you bought it from?
No. Jesus, I forget names.
Was it Ornstein or something like that? Ornstein?
Do you remember something?
I saw a picture with Papa George standing outside a drugstore, but I think it said Ornstein's or something.
Yes.
Like that.
Ortenstein.
Ortenstein.
Yes.
Ortenstein? And they changed the name?
We got it put down Jacobson, right.
Jacobson's Drugs?
Yeah. And then Manny got very sick and he couldn't go to work at all. He was bedridden. And we decided to give it up, so they gave it up to a black pharmacist who ran the store down so bad. When we used to meet some of the black people in the neighborhood, they used to say, "That black bastard, we don't have a drugstore." He would not open on time, he wouldn't need, and the patients that we had were retired old black people later. We were not in a black area when we bought it. They couldn't even cross the street to Cottage Grove. But later on, the elders loved us because they would not go to a doctor. They'd come and say, "I got a cold, I got an earache." And you gave prescription. You couldn't do that today, you know. And they were grateful. In fact, those elders later on retired to the South. They couldn't tolerate the young black.
Changed.
We got out of there. I said, "Get out home. I want you home."
It was dangerous down there?
Yep. So we got away. We left the store. We got a little nothing for it, but that's the way life is.
Wow. And then what did he do after that?
They held him up. He retired.
Oh, okay.
He retired at the age of 62.
Not bad.
Yeah. Well, we lived a very simple life. We used to pay her $200 a month. Maintenance.
Yeah. What's it now, 2,000?
Now it's $640. We lived there. We'd go to a restaurant, we'd eat. The two of us, we'd have dinner for $5. The two of us, we'd go out once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Gas was 35 cents.
Not bad.
You know, the car. He got held up going to the bank once. That was why I said, "Home. No more store."
Gunpoint?
Huh? he got hit in the head a little. In the daytime, he was going across the street to the bank.
Did they get away with it?
It wasn't a question of money. It wasn't much. It was, a daily deposit, a small store. It isn't like now drugstores. We still have one drugstore on Devon,
Oh, yeah?
private.
Was that also called Jacobson Drugs?
Talk about Jacobson Drugs. My brother went out with a girl whose father was a druggist.
A lot of drugs in this family.
There is a Jacobson Drugs. There are several Jacobson Drugs.
Now?
Pharmacists. I don't know about any more drugstores, no. But there were. And there were Jacobson pharmacists. One I knew who was a friend of the children's friends. Children, the girls' age. This one young man is a pharmacist. Yeah, there were other Jacobson
The
pharmacists.
girls, the twins? You had twins, right? Tweedledee and Tweedledum?
Pardon?
Tweedledee and Tweedledum? Twins? Nothing. You had twins, right?
Sure, I had twins. What else? I had to have more kids. I had to have more than one, so I had twins.
Were you shocked? Did you know you had twins coming?
No, I didn't go. I went to the doctor once, and then the flu, they had a terrible flu epidemic in '39.
How was Bennett with the girls when they first came around? Did they get along?
Fair, yeah. They got along. They didn't fight with each other, but they also didn't do much with each other because the twins were so close to each other that they really excluded everybody else.
Oh.
They were, the close of them really didn't invite someone in between them at all. They were very, very close to each other, but they didn't really fight with him. Fairly, they got along.
Were they close in age? My dad and the twins?
2.5 years apart. Yeah, my son was 2.5 years old when the twins were born, and he was such a good baby. Before then, he started to cry. He was neglected. All the attention went. He had so much attention. First of all, he was gorgeous. And the second, he was the first child among my friends. So this was a very important child. And all of a sudden, twins. And everybody couldn't get over twins. So it was all taken away from me. He used to cry a lot.
Mm.
It was sad. It was very sad to take this child who got all this beautiful attention, and all of a sudden nobody's looking at this child. I'm only looking at these two there. That was really something.
A lesson.
I was sick after the twins for many months because I had too much milk, and I got infectious. I had no time for him.
Mm-hmm.
I would have seen it, would have changed it, but I was ill because of the infection. I nursed Bennett a year, and then with the girls I